somewhere where no one else can hear them. I'll go and lock myself in a room where, you know, at least if I get it wrong a few times, it's only my ears, so it doesn't matter too much. They recognise that it's not going to be perfect immediately, and so then they move past that worry about, oh, if I pick up this violin, I'm never going to play a concerto piece, therefore I better not touch it. Suddenly we go, okay, so it's fine, I'm not going to play a concerto piece, but it's only me and a couple of friends, or me and the teacher here, so if I make a screechy noise, and that's the sort of preparation we do in advance, so we just allow our brains to accept it's okay to not get it right. Yeah?
I mean that if you think that you will success and that's so, sometimes you can't control all the factors. So, risk precaution. You just prepare for it.
Yeah.
But be optimistic.
Yeah. Well, we can start to say, okay, you know, I might fail that exam. If it, you know, I might not pass that exam. And what happens if I don't pass that exam? If I don't pass that exam, I don't get the job, or I don't get the this, or I don't. So the precaution is, I need to work a bit harder to make sure I do the studying so that I don't fail the exam. Exactly. Yeah, so we just take that extra preparation. We do a bit more work. We put a few extra jumpers on, as the guy said, to stop us feeling cold, you know. We protect ourselves a little bit.
Another precaution can be the knowledge of a previous failure or someone else's failure. You can learn through that. Probably another precaution we can combine, because the environment is totally, the way of thinking of the Greeks is totally different from what we mean. Because of that, I think the lady there, she said something about that. Being optimistic, but you may fail, something like that. The way of thinking is different, the mentality of the Greeks is like that.
Yeah. So to prepare, yes, so we don't get let down when it goes wrong.
Yes, but you can learn from another one's failure or from your previous failure of yours.
Yeah.
That's a precaution.
Or you can say, you know, I'm thinking of moving abroad. I'm thinking of, you know, going and finding a job somewhere else. One of my concerns is that I move somewhere else and I'm really unhappy there, I don't make any friends, and I hate the job I'm doing. So then you start to think, so what can I do beforehand to prevent that from happening? So you can think, well, maybe I could start to make 1 or 2 friends beforehand. I know that might sound impossible, but this day and age, with, you know, social media as it is, that's very possible. And then you can start to say to yourself, well, maybe I'll give the job 3 months. They've given me a 3-month trial period. I'm going to give them a 3-month trial period. And for 3 months, I'm just going to go, I'm going to be open-minded, and I'm going to see. And if at the end of 3 months I don't like it, that's fine. I'll do something different at that point. I can come back home, I'll be exactly the same place I was before, or I might find another job there, or there might be another opportunity that opens up, but I'll just allow myself to think like that. You know, one of the, what was the other problem I said? I said that we'd get there, we wouldn't like the job, we wouldn't be very happy, we wouldn't make any friends, and, you know, we wouldn't find anywhere to live as such. You know, all of these things, I always go back to the parachute. So, you know, if we're scared about moving to a foreign city and we haven't got any lodgings, then we kind of like, can we line up 3 lodgings? Can we have 3 parachute strings? And we can go to the first one, and if we don't like it, we can go to the second one or the third one. This is the sort of thinking that we have to give ourselves to allow ourselves to take these risks, what feels like a risk, but we take the risk safely, if that makes sense, so that we're making sure that we don't damage ourselves, financially, emotionally, physically even. Yeah. Good. So hopefully you've added precautions to the map, because we're now going to shift and switch and move into the rainbow mindset, which, if I'm being told Greek people don't think like this, good luck to you all. Because the rainbow mindset is a chance to really stretch your imagination. So if you can imagine one of those beautiful, you know, multicoloured arcs that stretches across the sky, there's something a bit magical about rainbows. More importantly, and I don't know whether you know this or not, but no two people ever see the same rainbow. If you see a rainbow, it's only you that sees it like that. Other people will see it slightly differently because it's an optical illusion. So it comes from your point of view. So using your imagination, if you could sit up on top of that rainbow and, you know, with these magical powers that the rainbow gives you, kind of click your fingers to make change happen, or to instantly change the situation that you see in front of you, what would you allow the rainbow to do for you? How could you shed magical multicoloured light on this situation and instantly change it? When I do this sort of exercise with children in schools, the children are all brilliant at answering this question. When I do it with corporate businesses, they really, really struggle. So the question I ask corporate businessmen is, if you had superhero powers, what superhero powers would you have? Who here can share a superhero power they might have right now that would help them take the next step? What would anyone do? If I was to give people magic wishes in this room that could instantly solve all the problems. Yes, please. Absolutely. Yeah, that's a really good one. You should come and do my job. You get to see what lots of people think. Not quite in the way you're saying, you're right. Now, I throw this out there because I'm going to just hold that thought a little minute. I did one of these exercises with a big group of people who'd all been out of work for about 2 years. And, you know, when you're out of work for 2 years and you've spent all your savings and your confidence goes and I asked this question, if you had superhero powers, and one lady said, I'd be a fly on the wall. Do we know what we mean by that? Like I'd be, you know, a little observer, a hidden fly on the wall in a nursing home, she said to me. Now, the type of place where, you know, older people are cared for or some such environment. I don't know. I don't know what her personal reasons were that meant that she wanted to see what was actually going on inside this nursing home. But obviously there was some sort of a personal reason there. She was very quick with her answer. Now, she was a hairdresser, this lady, who hadn't been able to find work for years. And so she says, I want to be a fly on the wall in a nursing home. So we stop, and I say, aren't you a hairdresser? Could you cut hair in nursing homes? In cutting hair, do you not hear an awful lot about, yeah. Anyway, by the end of the day, 2 hours later, after 2 years of not having a job, she had phoned up 3 nursing homes and was cutting hair in 3 nursing homes 1 day a week. You know, suddenly she had made a job for herself, doing what she wanted to do. So, how can we find out more about what people are thinking by making money out of it in the same process? Is there an app that can be developed? Are there any innovative ideas that could come together? Could we run a survey with the students in the university that might lead to something else? How can we actually start to use that superhero power to stimulate in ourselves what it is we really want to be doing, and how can we then make money out of it or take that next step going forward? It's really interesting, actually, these superhero powers. Who else has got some superhero powers? Who's got some magic wishes? Come on, let's hear this superhero's power.
I wanted to see the future.
To see the future, absolutely. And in actual fact, when we start to do exercises like this, the weather forecast, and it's called forecast, we start to forecast our future for ourselves. So that would be an amazing ability to have.
Not every time, because I will just get dizzy when I want. Just
So
1 hour before I go to sleep.
okay, yeah. Now, this gentleman shared with me when we were chatting earlier that you're actually quite into computer games, yeah?
Yes.
And there's been, hasn't there, some simulations with computer games where in actual fact the gaming itself has solved a number of big problems, and what I don't know what the game's called, but there's a game, it's not World of Warcraft, but where they've actually like entered into a new form of society through the game that is almost forecasting the future, isn't it?
Yes.
Anyway, we don't need the details of it, but there might be ways to forecast the future in understanding more through that sort of virtual environment.
If you analyze good the situation, you can predict the future.
Exactly.
But detail, when you need so much details to predict the exact future.
The exact future, yes, of course. And you know, very much like the weather forecasting on the television, when they forecast the weather, they'll say, you know, oh, temperatures are going down over the next week. Tomorrow morning it'll be sunny in the morning with rain coming in the afternoon, and so they can give us accurate details about this afternoon and tomorrow and maybe a little bit further, but they can't necessarily give us accurate for 5 years' time or something. So life is a bit like that, isn't it? And actually thinking about taking the next step forward is a bit like that too. And if we try to say to ourselves, you know, in 10 years' time I'm going to be here, then as soon as we start to take these first 3 little steps at the beginning, and that opportunity opens up over there, and that other opportunity opens up over there, if we're too stuck to I've got to be here, we let all these other opportunities disappear a bit. So we need to be clear about these sorts of things, and this superhero question is just stretching out your imagination. And as I explained earlier, if we can't imagine it, it's never going to happen. So if we can't see for ourselves the future that we actually want, we're going to be surrounded by the reality that we've got, which might be fine, might be great, but the reason I'm here is because I've been led to believe it's not that great. So ask yourself seriously what superhero powers you'd have to help you in your situation. Yes?
I would like to predict the numbers of the roulette.
That would be good.
We know all the time 35. But you help me to decide now what's the job I have to do in the future. I love London, I love roulette, so I have to be a dealer in Piccadilly Square casinos.
Go for Park Lane Casino, they've got lots of Russian money there.
Thank you very much for this.
But I mean, that brings us on to another point, doesn't it? Actually, you know, where is the money that we're after? And if it's not at home, what can we do to offer something to the money? You know, how can we actually create something that attracts? You know, how can we put ourselves in that situation? There was 2 people in London that spent £145,000, 145,000, in one night in one of those casinos, out buying each other on drinks. So when we sit here and we think to ourselves, oh, there's no money, oh, there's no this, oh, there's no that, there is, it's just maybe not in our pockets. So we've got to go and look for it, and then create an offer that delivers value, that means the people whose pockets it is in are prepared to share it with you. And finally, at the bottom of rainbows, there are always pots of gold. So what is your pot of gold? Now this is a really important question to ask yourselves individually, because for some people, and you mentioned this morning, for some people it's multi-million pounds. For other people, it's more time with their friends and family. You know, for some people, it's fast cars and yachts. For other people, it's more holidays. You know, for some people, it's a bigger house. For other people, it's a smaller house and lots of them, or whatever it might be. So, you know, what is your pot of gold? What does success actually mean to you? How are you defining success? Because, you know, the academics can tell you that it's getting a certain job. You know, somebody else your parents can tell you it's getting a certain salary, or marrying the right partner, or, you know, doing the right thing by the community or whatever. But what does success mean to you? What is it that you are actually striving for? Because it's more than just the salaries and the job titles and the fast cars and the houses.
A lot of friends and a lot of smile. That's the most important.
I think so. Me personally, I think so. I think that the money facilitates a certain freedom. It gives you the ability to do more. But the money itself doesn't make you very happy. So we need to be aware of what we're actually defining success to be. And then we need to find these pots of gold on the map. So for those of you that have been drawing your mind maps, identify some pots of gold, know where your success is, where you're actually going to start digging for it to look for it. Where are you finding your pots of gold at the moment on the map? Just recognise where they are. Because we're going to end the brainstorming session and we're going to draw up the final weather report. So effectively, you know, if you've drawn your maps at the moment, your map is the map that's kind of going behind, and you're stepping into the role of the person that's detached from their map now. So that lady there cannot influence, you know, she can't start picking suns up and moving clouds round and going, actually, I'd like this bit to be a bit sunnier today and I'd like that cloud to go over there. She just has to explain to the audience at home what's written on that map. So what you're doing for yourselves now is you're effectively explaining to yourself what you've written on the map, which might be exactly what you think it to be, but quite often there's things in there that your subconscious mind is telling you that you didn't necessarily realise. So look at some of the words that you've written there and just summarise as a short sentence to yourself, what is my success? In terms of taking the next step, how am I going to take that next step successfully? What is success in the first place? You know, it's getting to London, it's finishing the degree, it's, you know, having that access to fun and freedom the whole time. Whatever it might be, know what it is, and then ask yourself how you're going to actually achieve it. What are the steps you need to take to make that success a reality? Of course, you can just summarise this for yourself, because this becomes your action plan, and very quickly you can start to decide what you can do, you know, now as you leave the room. What are the things that you can start to do next to bring this success into play, to start to go down the road that takes to the success as opposed to the road that doesn't, or worse still, sitting still in a snowy environment when not making a decision. Indecision, actually, and this is a fact by the way, indecision costs more than recovering from the wrong decision. So it's actually cheaper in the long run to make a decision and learn from that mistake, you know, make a decision, get it wrong, learn from that mistake and correct it, than it is to sit around and do nothing. And finally, who can help? Who are the people that you need to be calling? Where are the winds that you need to be harnessing? How can you fill your sails with this added energy? And what are the questions that you've still got left to ask yourself, other people? What are the questions that maybe haven't been answered by the brainstorm? And who are some of the winds that you can perhaps invite to help you answer them? And other than that, have you got any questions left for me? Are there any ingenious ideas that have emerged as a result of this that you care to share? Otherwise, oh, one more thing. I urge you to add the date to this map, The reason being, this becomes a benchmark. This becomes a point in time, this map. You can look back on it in 2 weeks' time, in 2 years' time, and you can actually see how much progress or not that you've made. You can see where your thinking is and where you're hoping to go. So put the date on it. If there are, good ideas and you want to copyright it. It is your original piece of work, because that concludes the weather forecast brainstorming session. So whether you realise it or not, you've just given your brain a thorough workout, a bit like going down the gym. They are muscles. They get very unflexible, and Faye urged us earlier to build skills in terms of flexibility. So even if no good ideas have emerged out of that, you've just been to the brain gym for an hour and you've increased the flexibility of your brains. I hope it's helped you gain clarity, and I urge you all to take the next step. Thank you very much for joining the Nobody had any questions, did they? Well, I'm around. You can. Oh, you do have a question. That's